Okay, Lois, it looks like you're good to go.
All right. Well, happy 2021. We are the Library Advisory Board, and I'm calling this meeting to order. So it looks like we've got Francine and Denise and Sonia and Sarah and Catherine and Sarah and Gretchen and Bill. Bill, are you here?
Yes.
Okay, great. And Max Bishop and Teresa somebody. Oh, are they? They're from the team. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Great. So I hope you all had a good rest. You didn't have to meet in December, so now you should have lots of energy and get this board on board. So, approval of minutes. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Catherine? Catherine?
There we go. I have a small correction on page 2 of the minutes, the second to the last paragraph. Line 4 should be added the words co-location of services. That was the language that our group all agreed to and was passed at the November meeting. So it should read, including co-location of services, comma, additional branch libraries, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay. Yeah, I remember we did that. Co-locating of what services?
Co-location of services.
Co-location of services. Okay, any other additions or corrections? Okay, I will entertain a motion to approve. Oh, Denise.
Hi, this is my first time since the last time, but how do we get the meeting minutes? It wasn't included, I don't think.
And I didn't get, I just got the invitation to the Zoom invite today, and I didn't get an agenda or the minutes either. I'm new as well.
The Clarissa includes a link to the minutes and to the agenda within her email.
I didn't get an email though.
Yeah,
it's a separate Zoom invitation.
Just as a FYI, I think our contacts weren't quite updated yet with you guys as the new members in there. So apologies on our end for that. We're working on making sure that you are all included in all of the emails and that you have all of the access to that.
Thanks.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, actually the minutes come separately, I think. And then you get something that says the agenda and the reports. And then I think it's even the invite is separate. Gretchen?
Yeah. This time we got notice that when the Zoom would be and the link in a separate email was the RFP for the strategic plan, and within that email were links to the minutes and the agenda.
I think it's just what Sarah said. We're not on the mailing list yet,
Okay.
but that'll be fixed.
Yes, we didn't get that.
I'm so sorry. Well, you are indeed full members, so hope that won't happen again. So there were not any other additions or corrections except for the fact that some of our members didn't get the minutes. So I'd still like to approve the minutes with the corrections.
I move that we approve with the corrections.
Okay, and a second?
I second that.
Catherine seconds. All in favor, say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Okay, we have approved the minutes. Is there
Lois, there's some real static on the line. Is it just me that's hearing that?
No, me too.
It's just me?
No,
You
I
too?
am too.
Denise is hearing it. I don't hear it.
Oh, now I get it. I mean, I just got the static.
Yeah.
Kind of seems to be when you're talking, Lois.
That's right.
When I'm talking?
Yeah.
It seems to follow the talk.
Anybody's talk or just Lois's talk?
Just Lois's talk so far.
Yeah.
Okay, I will have to use sign language then. What? I'm sorry, can you understand me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I will try to talk as little as possible. Does anybody have public comment? This is the time for the community to speak. Anybody at all? Okay. We will move on to the Teen Advisory Board. Take it away, teens.
Hello, my name is Teresa. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I am a sophomore at Sprague High School. So the TAB members volunteered time to help prepare the bags for the Salem Reads book giveaway. Through contactless porch drops, TAB members added stickers to the giveaway bags and packed 60 pounds of dog treats into small bags. Each giveaway bag included a copy of the Salem Reads book, Walking with PD by Eric O'Gray, information about the library and library partners, a packet of dog treats, and a yummy human treat generously donated by Live Bar in Salem. TAB members also divided and bagged supplies for the next library take and make kit, which will be an all ages craft in which people paint rocks to look like cactuses and then plant them into a little clay pot. The Teen Advisory Board released a TAB book list called These Amazing Books. These are recommendations from us as book nerds to other teens. These recommendations include realistic fiction, nonfiction, science fiction, and fantasy. We wrote annotations and some members recorded book talks on video to help introduce the list. The list is now available online for people to download. If you want to see the list or video, we will send the links to Clarissa to include in the minutes.
Hello, my name is Max Bishop. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm a junior at South Salem High School. Our December teen program was really popular. We invited people to come on Zoom and play Among Us, an online video game together. Because the game is played in groups of 10, we had multiple Zoom rooms and teams of TAB members who hosted the rooms and made sure everyone was having a good time. We had brand new players all the way to experienced players, and it turned out to be a lot of fun. In January, we're trying a new idea also, a Zoom group study night about a week before the end of term so that people can be motivated and help each other out while we're getting ready for our final assessments and projects. We also have a team led by Katie McManus that will be hosting a 3-part online coding workshop in March focused on teaching HTML.
All right, great. Max, you have a wonderful voice. You should go on radio.
Thank you.
I have to acknowledge that I am Max's mother, and that's the first time I've heard his voice that way. And I thought the same thing. I'm like, gosh, Max, nice voice.
Yeah. Well, nice, nice. Any questions for the team members?
It's amazing.
I'm so glad you had said that because I was like, that last name is the same last name. So, all right. Sorry, just wanted to interject that. Go ahead, Denise.
I think that's amazing. You guys have contributed a lot of wonderful things. I am impressed.
We have
The first meeting I ever came to where the teen group was there, they blew me away. So I'm always excited when they're speaking.
they're always doing amazing things, and Sonia does such a great job of getting grants and having all sorts of exciting things going on. So we are really blessed. All right. Chair's report. I do not have a report. I will talk a little bit later on about the parking issue. But I try, if I have a report, I try to write it, and that's something we've been trying to do, is have written reports. So let's go on to Sarah. Sarah, do you have anything for us?
So you all saw my written report, hopefully. I know some of you are probably getting it a little late at this point. It's always a part of the agenda packet. I did want to share that we have released this week Library Fantasy, which is a video game to replicate sort of the experience of being in the library. Since we can't have people be in the library right now, we wanted to make a virtual library world. And we also just announced just yesterday and today that a very limited version of Curbside is reopening. All of the appointments for the first week are already filled, but we are able to actually start having Holtz pick up again. We knew that the external factors weren't changing anytime soon, so we did a deep dive into what we could change internally to make it safer for staff and for patrons to pick up their items. And so it's a pretty drastic reduction of the service that we're able to provide while we're in the extreme risk category. And as we move through the different categories, once we move into high, we'll be able to up our capacity a little bit more. So that has happened, and that's very exciting. And the other thing I just wanted to share with you all is that the front entryway of the library has started to be demoed. And so we will be redoing that front entryway by the parking lot and making it a more, I guess, beautiful plaza for people to come and meet in front of the library and sit, and we're really, really excited about it. It's also a foundation-funded add-on to the seismic project. It wasn't funded through the bond. It was, or it's not completely funded through the bond. Some of it is actually bond-eligible funds, but they also helped make that a reality. So that is my report, unless anybody has any questions.
Francine?
So I have library cards in Washington and Multnomah counties, and they resumed services in November. Were there unique challenges in Salem?
There are unique challenges in Salem, indeed. Washington and Multnomah counties have their buildings as they are known to have them. We have a temporary space that is about 1/10 the size of what we're used to being in, 1/8 the size of what we're used to being in. So that always causes us to have extra risk, because our peer libraries have much more actual physical space to operate out of than we do. So it does create the combination of seismic project, relocation, and pandemic create a lot of issues for us. Great question, Francine. Thank you.
I had a question, selfishly for my own book list. Sarah, you know that. So if we already have holds, then we have to wait till we get a notice. Is that right?
Did you already get a notice on it?
Well, at one point in November.
If you got the notice on it already, then you should contact and see if you can get an appointment. Contact the library about getting an appointment. Yeah.
Oh, like call?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can email too, or do the chat online. Any of those methods will work.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm anxious to get my books. Thank you, Sarah. Let's go to, is anybody here from Friends? I don't hear anybody. All right. Southern Public Library Foundation, Gretchen, do you have a report?
No new update other than with Walking with Petey, which has already been covered.
Okay, this is going to be a fast meeting. Discussion items. Francine, you wanted to talk about public art.
Going to make the meeting take longer.
Oh, well.
So first of all, I'd like to begin with some background on what I'm talking about, since there are several new members to the lab. Okay, so the background on what I'm talking about is that there is a committee that was set up, and it consists of Gretchen and me, the city's project manager for the retro, the earthquake retrofit, the architect, 3 members from the Salem Public Arts Commission, and Sarah. So we serve on a committee. In December, a request for qualifications went out for artists who would be interested in designing something for the shear wall, which is a structure inside the library that's about, was it 14 feet by 30 feet? It's quite large.
It's very big.
Gray concrete. 33 artists, or an artist team was one of the, some of the 33, submitted responses to the request for qualifications. Probably about half were from Oregonians, and the rest were from places all over the country. And December was the deadline for that. In January, the committee I spoke about, let me say one other thing. The city of Salem has 0.5% for art that by city statute or code or ordinance, I'm not sure what the word is required to be spent on new construction or extensive remodel. So the budget for this piece of public art was about $85,000. So in January, the group met and we reviewed all 33 requests, and we pared it down to 6 individuals or teams. And then we invited them to all come to meet with us for a question and answer period about the project. And actually all 6 were from Oregon. That wasn't what we set out for, although that is one of the values in the selection in terms of points being, achieved. But it was what it was 6 Oregon, either individual artists or groups. So they came back after that first question and answer time, the 6 of them, and they showed us what their ideas might be for the space. And then from that, one artist was selected to do the work. Her name is Amanda Wojak. She is the chair of the art department at the University of Oregon. Subsequent to that, she came in person at that. Well, when they all 6 of them came in person, it was before COVID. They were able to actually show us product. But then after that, things pretty much went into COVID mode, where meetings were by Zoom. So I kind of wanted to give you a background, because I never like people like starting something kind of midstream where I don't really know what the context is. And I don't know how all you are about that, but it's the way I am, so you're stuck. Okay, so she works out of the public space at the University of Oregon. She does not have an independent studio. And because of COVID, the governor shut that down. So she did not have access to her own studio. So some of her art plans to develop and implement the art actually have been impacted by that significantly, and so has her teaching. She came to a Zoom meeting this past Monday. And at this recent meeting, she showed us a paper sculpture cut of her design and had it basically as it would look installed with a gray background. It's the background, this large shear wall is gray concrete. So Gretchen asked, and I'm glad she did because I was just about to, well, what about, there was supposed to be some color in this. There was supposed to be some sort of stone, glass stones or glass pieces of color that would be worked into this piece of art. And I will tell you, it is all like stark white, and it is stark white against a gray sheer wall. So she said that her design idea had changed.
Francine, we can add metal. It's all metal.
Metal, yeah, thank you. Yeah, the example was in paper, but the work is going to be installed into the wall, attached as a sculpture that will be away from the wall as well. It's not just like on the wall. It's three-dimensional, and it has, she showed pictures of how it would look from different angles around the library, which was quite impressive. But where I'm going with this is that I feel that it reminds me, it's an abstraction of 7 waterfalls. There is a little bit of color in the base of these individual waterfalls and there's a few things that look like either birds or leaves. But I am concerned that there isn't the color that was originally discussed by her in her presentation to the group. And no further discussion of that occurred during the meeting Monday. Sarah did ask about thinking it was all pretty white too, as a question. So I think she had shared the observation about that it was stark white. So my issue in bringing this forward, and I tried to write this up, is my question is, should we recommend to the selection committee or to the artist that the fullness of her original proposal, which was to be incorporated into the art, that she rethink her decision, which I don't believe was made collaboratively. The only meeting that I missed or Gretchen missed of all the meetings that have happened about this, and there's probably been about 10 of them, was one that no one informed us of. So we have been diligent in our we played due diligence. So and so none of you have seen this art, and it's really a impressive idea, and that's not the question. The artist was selected and the committee is that, but I feel that I just feel like I need to bring this up because I know it's going to be for a long time, and I think about us as being part of the public. I'm thinking about what people see, what people who are walking through, looking at it might enhance it if her original idea was incorporated into it. So I feel enough said, and I thank you for your interest and time.
Sarah?
I did want to add one piece of information here, and that is that we will be interviewing Amanda Wojcik and trying to do some highlights and talk about the art. She has asked that we don't show the entire art, and I don't have any pictures to show anyway, but she's going to provide us with some pictures of the mock-up, but not everything, to do some storytelling about this art. So I just wanted to add that piece, that we will be doing some public informing. And I did find out from her when I asked my question about the starkness and the whiteness of the sculpture. I did ask her about that, and she did say that there will be 2 different kinds of white. The waterfalls themselves, as part of the design, will be a sparkly white, and then the other white, which is more of a background, will be more of a matte white. It is hard to describe without actually seeing it, and I apologize. It was her preference not to have that. I don't have anything thing to say about whether or not what any of you recommend. I don't know what the best way. I have never been a part of this kind of process before. I have no idea how to work with this. I would be happy to have Heather Dimke or invite other members of the art committee or whatever to the next meeting. I don't know how to proceed with this, but I'm happy to try and find out.
Francine and Gretchen, do you feel like there was a discrepancy in what you thought she was going to do and what she has actually now shown you as far as what it looks like?
To some extent, yes.
From what I remember, it seemed like there was some color in it, but you know that I don't think I've ever been shown like a huge picture, but some kind of rendering of it.
There was initially, the initial concepts had a lot of color. Francine and Gretchen are both correct. That was definitely the original concept that she first showed us, which was in concept phase. And she is evidently an artist. She did talk about this a little bit, that she is an artist whose idea evolves. And the way that the things work really evolves. She also talked about the perforations in her artwork being sort of sparkly dances that will show different things. It's hard to envision with the paper mock-ups and not seeing the actual art itself again. And she did talk about, just to add on a little bit more information, the reason it is 7 waterfalls when originally I don't think she had quite so many. The 7 waterfalls came from a news story that she recently read about a discovery in the 70s of the family waterfalls in Salem on Opal Creek, where a father found it and had 7 children and named each of the waterfalls after his children in this very hard to find area. So there were very interesting things to talk about there too, but I again, the initial concept to where we are now seems to have evolved quite a bit.
I think, and Francine, correct me if I'm wrong, the concern was, and the question is, how much do we play in advising with our project with the library and the impact it will have on staff as well as the visitors, the clients, customers. And as members of the advisory board, do we have more say? I think Sarah would be chief, representing all the staff in particular.
Yeah.
Francine?
I don't know the answer to that from my perspective. I do think this would be maybe something to actually send an email out to the committee members, and I can do that. I can send an email out to all of the committee members highlighting what the concerns are that both you and Francine have, having seen it. And I would be happy to facilitate. I just really don't know what the process is, and I apologize. Again, this is my first time doing this, so I don't know where labs stuff lies, other than having the 2 of you representing lab. I don't know where any of that really lies.
Yeah, it seems to me that the lab people are part of the larger committee. And so, I mean, other than saying we support the 2 members of lab that are on the committee, I don't feel like we have too much more to say about it, because there's a larger group involved. Mm-hmm. And the 3 members of the public art or the city art commission, it seems, would be some people that I would think might have some say in the matter also.
I don't know how they feel about
the
evolution. I really don't. I actually came out of there thinking maybe I was the only one who had questions about the the evolution. So and so when I left, I'm not sure how anybody feels.
Gretchen and Francine, do you want something from us, or do you just want to let us know?
Francine?
Well, I think it's really difficult for any, I mean, obviously, we haven't seen the installation. We've seen a mock-up of it. And we haven't seen what her concept is in terms of the light and the shimmering paint or the shining paint. But I feel like you all needed to understand about this process and how it is funded by the city and how the people were selected and what the plan is, as just because it's a big part, going to be a big part of the library. But as far as the next step on this, I feel like I'm happy with just myself and Gretchen, if Gretchen wants to join. I think Gretchen shares my concern. Having some vehicle in which we can say, you know, can we take this back a little bit to what the original proposal was to have this? Because from our perspective, as me as a non-artist, me as more like somebody who knows how children look at things and how people look at things, that I have a concern about, was it okay to leave that out, or, you know, and is it necessary, or why does she think taking it out makes it better, you know, than leaving it in? So, does that answer, Lois?
Well, it sounds like something that the committee needs to talk about among themselves to me. I don't feel like I want to step in as a lab board, but the people who are involved from lab, I think, need to talk with the other people.
I will happily email Heather Dempke and ask for some vehicle or avenue if we want to have another meeting again, or if we just want to have an email conversation or something like that to kind of share the concerns from this group with the other members of the committee. I'm happy to facilitate that.
Thanks, Sarah.
Yeah, of course.
Put that on your to-do list that you're going to make, Sarah.
Yes, my action items list, so I don't forget.
Okay. Hey, once again, I want to thank Francine and Gretchen for being on that committee, and I know that you were really good members, and you looked at all the artists' biographies and all that, so we were well represented, and it looked like a really neat piece of art, so we'll see. But, you know, people are always going to go like, oh, what was that about, you know, and why did we spend so much money on that? But let's be positive and, you know, assume that it's going to be great. I'm going to. Okay, let's move on. Literacy to Go donation. At our last meeting, which seems like an eternity ago, we heard about what is called actually Books for Kids Literary Outreach. And what we heard about that is that there's these great kits that go out to 12 community partners, and including Head Start, Mano a Mano, Family Building Blocks, Boys and Girls Club, Center for Hope and Safety, and food pantries and other things. And these kits have books and activities for families. And the end of the report said staff continue to seek additional funds as demand far outpaces our kit supplies. And this, to me, seems like a fabulous way to use some of the resources that we have in our lab funds, because it sounds like to me, these are people who may not necessarily have the resources or the transportation or whatever to get to the library, but they are part of these community groups. And so I'm just throwing it out there and seeing what you think, if possibly a donation from Lab would be something you would approve. Don't everyone talk for them. Francine.
So, how much money would be, effective, or do you have any idea of, I mean, I think it's a great idea too, truthfully. I volunteered with a number of those organizations and, worked in pediatrics for 40 years. So I think anything you can do to help kids and families is really a great goal. But, what's a drop in the bucket and what's something that will make a difference?
Sarah, do you have any idea what kind of budget they have? I know it started with a grant. Is that correct?
Yes, I believe so. It actually started with our Ready to Read funds, in part because we know that we can't spend all of our Ready to Read funds, which are our summer reading fund and literacy funds that the state library awards to libraries in Oregon every year. And it's an LSTA grant that we receive a part of to fund those programs. And because we can't do our normal summer reading programs, this is one of the ways that we've been expanding literacy and being able to reach out to folks. So that's the grant that is referred to as that grant that we do apply for every year and typically receive. The question of how much would be helpful is a little hard to answer right now because this program is paused while we're in extreme risk category. It will hopefully resume either in high or moderate risk. We're looking at what we can resume as we move through the different risk categories. The other piece of this is that we're working on preparing, the Friends of the Library have a February through January fiscal year. So we are working with them to create the budget for next year and what we would be spending on this from the Friends budget for next year. So having an exact number right now, I don't, but I can work with the Friends on what they'll be able to fund and bring that back and ask and talk to Jessica, who coordinates the program, and she can either come with figures to the next meeting in February, or I can bring the figures that would be helpful in February.
Okay.
And as I said, there's no rush because we can't do anything with this right now as it is.
Oh, okay. I was thinking possibly that while they were on pause, if they had funds, they could start making the kits now.
Part of the issue is that we can't have staff in the building while curbside is going on. So it makes it hard for us to even do that part of things. Yeah.
Well, Sarah, you said that the Friends were in sort of a tight situation. So I wouldn't mind having Lab taking a step. So maybe I was thinking like $5,000. That way, then if the Friends don't have very many funds, then they could say, oh, well, Lab has given this much, and so maybe we don't have to give as much. Does that make sense?
It does, and you and I talked about this a little bit, that the thing that I want, Friends and Foundation both exist to support the library and to support programs like this. So we always kind of go to them first for financial requests and support for programs and things like that. Obviously, the foundation has come directly to you to ask for donations in the past. I wish Carol was here because that might give us more insight into things. I will absolutely be happy to talk to her about that and what impact that would make as we're planning on the budget as well.
Okay, well, for those of you who are new, Sarah and Denise, we have over $200,000 in the Lab fund. We don't spend this is my opinion. We don't spend much of it. we also don't get a lot of money on a regular basis. In the past, we have usually waited for the foundation, to ask us for Salem Reads or to help pass the bond or something, not help pass the bond, to send out information about the bond and that kind of thing. I personally would like to use these funds more to reach out to the community. That's my feeling. Why have this money just sitting there? I know there isn't any rush, so I guess we don't have to take any action right now. But I think this is my opinion that we have money. Let's use it, particularly for things that directly go out from the library to young readers or pre-readers to make a foundation for their reading and for their lives, really. So does anybody else have any thoughts about that? Like what do you want to use your money for? What we have this money, and we use it very sparingly, and it just, somebody else.
Well, I'll put it in 2 bits in that I'm one of the coordinators for Head Start for the SMART program, and we haven't been able to do anything. We've gotten some books out to schools, but the kids that really need us are these Head Start and pre-K ages, and I would really like to see what's going out to them, because many of the students just haven't gotten anything in that age group over the years. So,
Catherine.
Yes, I agree and really support the idea of dispersing more of this money that, as you say, is just sitting around. We have a large low-income population in this city. Our library is underfunded compared to some other cities, and we can surely do some real good in the community by finding maybe a variety of different ways in which to use this money. And we should all put our thinking caps on for a future meeting and think about, some positive ways we can help the community.
Thanks, Catherine. Anybody else? Sarah?
Well, I'm thinking it will be helpful though to know what the plans are it's the friends who are on the February cycle. So once they have their budget together, we'll know what they're planning. And then I think that'll give us a lot more information about what we can supplement, either add to things that they're, contribute to things that they're doing, or think about other programs. But we want to make sure that we have good coordination in terms of what programs are out there. And again, the good question that was asked about what would just be a drop in the bucket and what would actually do some good. So I think the more we know about what Friends are up to and the foundation is up to, then we can really clearly put our thinking hats on now, but not make a decision until we have that picture.
Yeah.
Lois?
Yes, Denise.
I think that what you are proposing is a wonderful idea. I have to agree with Sarah that perhaps a little bit of wait and see, but boy, the program you're suggesting just sounds marvelous. Very much needed. Good job.
Okay, so it sounds like let's get a little more information, and Sarah, maybe we could actually hear from whoever the woman you said is sort of in charge of it. Maybe she would have a suggestion of what, what kind of amount would work. Francine?
So if we were to brainstorm a little bit, I'm going to mention 2 other things that I've seen successfully used in other places. One is like a kiosk where people can put their library card in and actually borrow from from it. It's almost like a huge vending machine. And I saw that in Telluride at several places. The other thing is that I've wondered about, and I tried to, when I was volunteering at Scott Elementary, the parent teacher president, PTA president was very interested in this, and then she got really sick with pregnancy and stuff and wasn't able to even follow up. But to set up more of the little libraries that are volunteer stocking where people can just come and get what they want, right now those are done by private individuals. I've looked at how much they cost to do, but maybe that is a way that there could be more of an outreach into part of Salem that needs it, or maybe there could be a pilot to see if it is used, and obviously there's either volunteers or people that would have to like restock those. But if we're going to brainstorm a little bit, I wanted to add those two things. Although I think your point is wonderful, but there might be other things like Catherine said, other ideas.
Okay. All right, so let's put that on I'm going to make a note. We will find out more about that in February. And actually, when we do our library strategic plan, we can also, maybe make some goals of maybe more of these, or little libraries or kiosks, and that part about co-location of services is a good idea. So,
Lois, can I just chime in really quickly and support your idea to have it be a part of the strategic planning process, so that there's maybe some overarching priorities that the lab wants to support with that money, especially since, and you and I have talked about this, but it is money that does not get replenished. You are not a fundraising board. You have a lot of other things to do. And so I do think having some priorities there would be a really great thing to do. I also just wanted to chime in with that the kiosks in Telluride and other places are actually in the $250,000 to $300,000 range. Hillsborough has one, or had one at least, called the Bookomat, and so there are different versions though. So it depends on how big you want to go. This is getting way too in the weeds. I just had like my brain just zinged a little bit with that, but I do love those kiosks, and they're near and dear to my heart. So I'm happy to continue talking about that as a part of the strategic planning, and how we could maybe have services located outside of the 2 library locations that we have.
Well, we did have a conversation about, and we actually voted on some ideas of how we use our funds. I'll have to look that up because I kind of forgotten it. But that is something to think about, and I think we have plenty of money. So that's just me. Okay, new lab member update. Sarah, I think that's you. Sarah
Bishop?
No.
No.
Sarah Stroh, the person that's going to take Jeffrey's place. What's up with that? Not Sarah Bishop, sorry.
Literally nothing.
Okay.
The boards and commissions group hasn't met. They're not going to for a while. They typically meet quarterly, so it'll be a while. We do still have a very viable pool of applicants from when Sarah and Denise were appointed, though. So that strong pool will remain in effect until 1 year after each application was submitted. So.
Okay. I saw that I skipped something. I wanted to report that the library renovation subcommittee voted unanimously to support the 3-hour free parking recommendation that lab presented. So I don't know if I gave any background to the new members, but we have been really involved with trying to get some free parking. And so we did recommend 3 hours of free parking. The subcommittee unanimously voted to lend sort of their support to that. We're thinking it's going to go to the city council on January 25th. And Sarah will let us know, hopefully.
So this week is approval week for the 25th, and we are working on getting it through the approval process. So if everything goes well by the end of this week, we'll know if it's on the 25th agenda.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is when we find out that for sure, I would like to have people testify at the city council meeting, which you can do on Zoom, or write comments in support of the 3-hour parking yourself, or I'm going to ask my friends to do so. I will send out an email that tells you how to contact the city council. I think Catherine has more information about how to testify actually on Zoom. I haven't done that, but I plan to do that. But I think it's important that we get some support for this in the community. The city is, the library is I guess it's the city staff is still saying an hour and a half of free, 90 minutes of free parking. But as you know, Lab voted to recommend 3 hours. So I will send out that email as soon as I know for sure about the 25th. And Catherine, can you tell us a little bit about how to sign up if you want to give testimony?
Well, the last time I gave testimony was in person. So all I would know, all I know is that if the item is actually up on the agenda, then you can see the agenda ahead of time and get an idea of when it might come up. If it's not on the agenda, then you have to wait to the end of, wait to the end of the meeting before they take public testimony. But this should be an agenda item so that the testimony will be taken in a timely way. I don't know how the sign-up process goes, because ordinarily you sign up for it. I imagine that after they present the information to city council and the council talks about it, they should, before council makes any decisions, they should ask if there's any public who wants to make comments. I mean, that's
I don't know exactly how it works, but there is still a sign-up process.
Is there?
Yeah.
Online?
If you watch the city council meetings, there's definitely a sign-up process. I am not 100% sure how it works, though, because I'm coming at it from the staff side. But I will see if I can find out for you.
Okay, and I will try to talk to somebody about it too. I don't know if you kind of.
It should be on the website, on the council website, where the agendas are posted and things like that, but I'm not 100% sure.
So
I'll have to look at.
So you probably just go into the Zoom meeting, and then when they say your name, you unmute.
Right.
I guess.
They ask for signups and then, but I know who's asking for or pointing out who the commentators are, but I don't know how the actual logistics work, but I am happy to find out for you or send you links to the agenda.
Okay, great. I think a lot of people, can just send an email and hopefully your counselor reads them, or you can send it to the whole council also.
I was thinking I would just go up onto the city council site and ask the secretary who's there to send me a Zoom invitation. But I don't know.
We'll figure it out.
So Sarah, yeah, that'd be great if you could tell us how to do that.
I will figure it out for you and get you links.
Yes, this has been a long process of this issue of parking. I mean, it's kind of been there since I've been on the board, which mostly is because I've been on the board. Catherine?
So let me just add for our new people that that it's very likely that city staff will recommend 90-minute parking. And on the lab, we think unanimously we came to a conclusion that that was not enough free parking for several reasons. One of which is that the children's programming is an hour and a half, and a lot of people want to do not just children's programming, but maybe do something else in the library. Pick out adults, parents pick out books of their own, and just in general, a lot of people spend more time than an hour and a half in the library. So public testimony is needed to kind of counteract the testimony that the city staff is going to give.
So I'm the city staff who's recommending 90 minutes. And that is based on our urban development department's recommendation. And they're concerned that that we would be offering 3 hours and then maybe have to take it back due to revenue issues. We're not expecting either way for there to be a lot of revenue. Either way, 3 hours or 90 minutes, we're very excited to be able to be presenting council with an option for free parking of any amount of time. And the lab and seismic subcommittee recommendations and votes are at the current version of the report that I have are both listed in that report as well.
Sarah and Denise, well, we've also, a couple of us have met with different city councilors and the mayor and have gotten the support of Chris Anderson and Chris Hoy, Tom Anderson. We met with the mayor who really didn't give us an answer, but who listened to us and asked questions. And we talked to Vanessa Nordyke, and she was very supportive, but didn't say for sure how she would vote because she still needed to do some research and things. So yeah, I think we'll get some amount of free parking, and that will be very wonderful. And we're hoping three hours. Sarah Bishop.
I'm just wondering, so it sounds like the city's coming forward with 90 minutes, the lab is coming forward with 3 hours. Is there room for compromise somewhere in the middle? Is that a possibility?
No, that's just more confusing. Downtown has 3-hour parking for free. And then as you come out towards the library, the whole Civic Center is free parking. And to jump over the Civic Center and then charge again for parking more than an hour and a half is just doesn't make any sense to the council members we talked to, or to the mayor, to our lab. It's all compromised already because there are a lot of libraries throughout the state that don't charge anything for any amount of time. So 3 hours is already our lab compromise.
Yeah, we compromise. We were given some options, and our option was 3 hours, and we wanted all free parking. So it's been quite a process, and we really want this for the community. What is the real deal. When we did when the city did some research about the library, 88% of the people said that parking was an issue for them, and one of the reasons why they don't use the library. 88% of the people that took the survey said that. That's pretty overwhelming. And then when you add on to the fact, like Catherine mentioned earlier, the percentage of people who are low income or who are needy, In some of the wards, is up to 27%. And that's
I'm completely in favor of free parking, but I want to get as much as we possibly can. And if it really looks as though we're going to be, either 90 minutes or 3 hours, and we lose 3 hours, 2 hours will be better than 90 minutes. So.
Yeah, I understand, Sarah. Yeah. I just wanted to give you a little more of the background that we've been through.
Well, can I ask a question about that? Does our library, I really don't know this, do we have free computers for use in our library? Free computers?
Yes.
All right. It seems to me that 90 minutes is a little brief. I have known a number of AmeriCorps students who relied on the public library to get in contact with their relatives. They don't keep phones. They're on very, very low income. And they really use libraries in Dallas, where I worked. And 3 hours in that amount of time is not very much for them to get all of that done. They did not own their own computers at all times.
That's a good point, Denise. Yes. Sometimes people may have to be writing a resume for, if they don't have a computer at home, or doing schoolwork, or, making a report for a high school course. Any other discussion about this? Francine?
We also felt that 90 minutes is very difficult for people to calculate. A lot of people, if you ask them like how many minutes are in an hour, they're going like this. So I think that it would be not a recommendation, even just in terms of practicality. And I think misunderstood, and people will be getting tickets, which they hate.
Yeah. And Sarah, if the council votes for 2 hours, we'll be fine. We'll be like, yeah, but we're recommending 3. So, all right. Hey, Callum's here. Yay. Hi, Callum. She's going to talk about the strategic plan, the RFP for getting a consultant. I'm so glad you're here. You made it. Take it away, Callum.
Yeah, I apologize. I'm late. It's been a long day. So yeah, we received 9 proposals in response to the RFP for a strategic planning consulting firm, essentially. So the members of the committee, we reviewed those and scored them, and then we met to debrief, and we selected the top 4. We then invited back this week to essentially interview, and we asked them some clarifying questions. And we met with 2 of the groups today. We're going to meet with the other remaining 2 tomorrow. And then we're going to debrief after that. And I believe a decision is expected shortly after that. So at least our recommendations. So it's exciting. It's very, as I mentioned in my email to you, Lois and Sarah, because I didn't know if I was going to be able to make it. I was impressed with the majority of the proposals. They were very different. Some were very much our strategic, consulting firm, and other ones where, yes, we do that, but primarily, we have a strong background in working with libraries. So I'm hoping, I'm encouraged that we can kind of find something in the middle. But yeah, it's been quite an experience. I've prepared RFPs before. I've prepared them for counties, but I've never had to review them or be on this end of it. So it's a really interesting experience, personally.
Oh, neat. That's great. How did you rate them? I mean, not you personally, but was like according to experience or?
So yeah, there was actually, I pulled up the thing. There were, I think, 5 different sections, more than that, but some were kind of combined. So they had to provide a cover letter, just that essentially stated they understood what the city was looking for, organization and structure, and their approach to the project, their qualifications and experience, was a big part of it as well. How quickly they could respond, and really how they could mobilize, to do what we needed them to do on our time schedule. Their fee, obviously, to a certain extent, it comes down to the bottom line sometimes. And also, their references, so that's pretty standard. So there were a number of sections. There was a lot of overlap between, those sections where one kind of affected the other, obviously. So yeah, again, it's been a eye-opening experience.
Nice. Thanks for being on that committee. I really.
No problem. Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Has it all been through Zoom?
Yes. Yeah, and I think that's really my fault. Everybody else on the committee is with the city, but I'm not, and so joining teams was difficult. So they've been very nice and willing to move over to Zoom for me.
Nice. Any other questions for Callan? Were any of the references from other libraries in Oregon?
I remember out of the 9 of them. I know that they worked on a number of projects with libraries in Oregon. A lot of them had that listed as, in their experience. I can't honestly recall off the top of my head if there were any references. I want to say there were, but I don't hold me to that.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Thanks so much, Callan. Okay, that's the end of our discussion items. I don't think we have any action items because we're going to get more information about the books for kids, literacy outreach. Does anybody have an action item that they want to bring up? I don't see anybody. Anything else for the good of the board? I want to thank everybody for being at this meeting. I want to thank my vice chair, Catherine, for being a supportive co-chair, or not co-chair, vice chair. I wish we could meet in person. I feel like I want to just like hug somebody. Anyway, Sarah, you have anything you want to add?
Me, Sarah, or Sarah Bishop?
But Sarah asked.
Yeah, you're gonna have to start giving initials.
Sorry.
It's the curse of Sarah's everywhere. So I did actually want to say that the deputy city librarian position closes next week. So we'll have applications to review after that, and we'll be hopefully hiring for that position soon, which is very exciting. I forgot to mention that during my city librarian's report, although I think it might actually be in the written report as well. Yeah, I think that's about it. We'll also be working on with the consultant when they are chosen by Callan's group to start gathering a steering committee and getting everybody together to work on the strategic plan itself.
All right. Thank you. If there's, I wanted to tell Sarah Bishop and Denise, if you ever have any questions about what's going on, feel free that you can email me. I'm very accessible. I love to talk about the library. In fact, I met some people the other day and I was like ranting about the library and they're like, there she goes again. Anyway, Catherine.
I have one question. I know when I first joined the lab, I got a little list of all the members and contact information for them. I wonder if we could get an updated list with contact information.
Good idea.
Yes,
for
we
all of
can.
us.
So we'll probably need to have Mark come and do the public meeting spiel again soon. So because we have new members, I know it's your favorite, Lois, but we will, because we can also send out that roster when we have that updated public meeting spiel that happens.
Can we wait for that spiel till we get the next member?
I was actually going to suggest that we wait until we get the next member
Yeah.
and then get the roster. Yep.
Okay, well, I will, the Sarah Bishop and Denise, I have your email, so I will send you my email if you don't have it. But anyway, feel free to, if you have an idea, you just have a question like, why in the heck do you do that? Feel free that you can ask me. And if I don't know it, then I'll ask Sarah, and then we don't have to bug Sarah, not Sarah Bishop, the other Sarah.
You are not bugging me. I'm always happy to answer questions. It's part of librarianing.
But you are much more busy than I am. Okay, so I think we're done. We're going to adjourn. Everybody read and have fun. See you in February. Oh,
Thank you.
and talk to your city council person, ask people to comment. All right.